Today we're going to be talking about surrealism. I personally love this genre of art so much. I wish I saw more of it in person than I have in school, when I was in school. And I told myself I was going to try to talk about Dorothy Tanning today, and I will briefly. Thinking of this and surrealism itself, I was thinking about how surrealism kind of reflects its ideology in society and how we're living today. I had to really touch on that kind of subject and theory. If you don't know what surrealism is, it's a genre, it's also a noun. Surreal, when you think of surreal, like you can't believe it, it doesn't feel real, it is like dreamlike, it's a state of being where it doesn't feel real. So in art, surrealism emerged right after the Dada movement. So Dada was a reaction, an effect from the war, and emerged in France. So I'm looking at my old notes from when I wrote this in college, but basically, yeah, so it was an anti-war movement. It was supposed to be like, it didn't make sense and chaotic, and you'll see a lot of like collaging and like cutting and like different things, performative art that didn't really make sense. And it was just really in history we always see that there's always a different movement and reaction to war. But once that's already settled, that's when we kind of see surrealism come into play, reach a little bit into like a philosophical state of mind. Came to be more aimed to the irrational and subconscious human mind and how we were feeling, and tapping into the reality of how we're living and going past that and breaking through those constraints of reality that we're facing and tapping into our dreams and what doesn't really feel real. And I think maybe I resonate with that so much. For me personally, is because some things really just do feel unattainable, and so for an artist to create a visual story and create that and make that into a piece of art, I think is really interesting to me. I think it makes them look like a superhero. I don't know, to me it's a really niche, it's very a niche genre of art, and I think that's why I really appreciate it, because after the chaos, we crave kind of a dreamlike reality. I think and I think that's why I also wanted to touch on that theory, because I feel like, reflecting in society, we are heading to a time where life is chaotic. Our political system is very chaotic. It's dismantled. We are experiencing a dismantle of our society in front of our eyes. And I feel like as people, we really crave to be in a dreamlike state of mind, to be irrational, um to be delusional. And I feel like, in so being delusional and being surreal and wanting everything to feel surreal, we are kind of self-sabotaging ourselves. But we also need that, and I think that's why it's a very hypocritical thing we're experiencing in our life, but we crave that surrealist feeling. I think it will appear in other ways in our society right now. I'm gonna give another example regarding media instead of art, because I feel like that is more digestible to understand. But when we were young, early 2000s, late 90s, we had such beautiful creations and animations and movies of these like dreamlike characters and qualities. And as society continues, we see ourselves creating really realistic characters. Sometimes it just feels like when I'm watching a Disney show or Disney movie, it's just like, what the heck? I'm like, where did all the dream and fun go? Like, why are we so harsh and realistic? But I feel like a moment in time in our society, yes, we did need that realistic aspect in the media that we're consuming. But now I feel like as things are progressing in time, we have consumed so much harsh media, harsh art, harsh whatever, videos, photos, photography. People, we are going to crave that surrealist idea. We're gonna crave that. And so I truly believe that if something were to traumatically happen again to the world, specifically in the US, I think that we will see that reflected in a lot of art and media. And I think we're kind of starting to see that. I feel like history repeats itself, but as a cliche, I feel like history does repeat itself. We're starting to want to do more like physical, intimate things now and go to more to classical arts and go to theaters, go to Broadway shows, indulge in really great narrative pieces of art and things that really have intentions. Once we've reached that state of mind as a society, I feel like we're going to hit the state of mind of surrealism. But then again, we kind of already are. I feel like people are living in a surrealist state of mind, but are not surrounded by that, if that makes sense, because we are choosing to be delusional in the state that we're living in right now. But like I said, this is all about the subconscious mind. Consciously, maybe we are feeling and seeing these things on the daily basis, but we are not acting on it. Surrealists back in the day have acted on it, and they painted it and they reimagined it onto paper, onto canvases, and I think that is truly why I really love that. I feel like they were able to take it from their mind and put it on paper. So I know we always hear about Salvador Dali, Rene Magritte, Max Ernst, Joan Miro, and so on and so on. Really wanted to talk about Dorothy Tanning briefly. I feel like for me, once I saw her art, like when I chose her name and I saw her art in class,
It's like, nah, she got some real cool dreams up in here.
she's a little cuckoo, but like in a cool way. That's what really drew me to her. But she grew up in Chicago. She's Swedish descent. A lot of people say that she was very loving, she was indulgent, she was imaginative, she was elegant. Like, if I were to be an artist and have my artist shows and like people record me doing art, I would want to be like Dorothy Tanning. Like, supposedly people say like she wore such elegant clothes. She put herself together really well. Like the rest of us, she grew up in New York. I mean, she grew up in Chicago, then she went to New York to pursue art. When we are talking about women in art, they really love to steer away from eroticism. We see a lot of misogyny in art back in the day. Male artists, because they are so consumed by people when learning about artists all the time. And I think it's really important to understand that because of this, women have like tried to stay away from adultery and eroticism. There is this one painting that I really wanted to talk about, and how I believe in Translate, it's called Children's Games, where she has like a dream, right, of three girls on the floor. Two are interacting with the walls. I really feel like her having girls in her dream makes it much more innocent and playful. And it confronts the audience to really grab your mind and get out of that state of, oh, like, why is she putting children? Like, why is she, that's kind of weird, that's kind of sus. When we were little, everything was innocent and everything was dreamlike, you know? So juxtaposing that idea of, you know, like, I feel like a lot of people look at today and be like, that's weird. Like, that's weird. Like, why does she have children in this dream? She makes a lot of artwork, and so go check her out on your own time, like, really. But she makes a lot of art that just feels really, maybe a little unsettling, but very unrealistic, and but also makes you wonder so much more. And that's so much to capture in one sitting of looking at an artwork. And I think as an artist, that is exactly what you want the audience to be thinking. Like, you want the audience to be going like, what the heck? That she was able to have a picture, like actually create characters, is just really amazing. And that's why I appreciate surrealism so well. In my day-to-day life, I don't really encounter it as much, and so that's why I just briefly wanted to mention her. I truly think that we are going to reach another surrealist movement in the world. I feel like a lot of it is already kind of being transcended into different things. I think that we are really gonna reach a state of surrealism in our life, in this world again. And we're going to crave, I feel like we are going to crave this dreamlike quality that we're all missing, because quite frankly, the world is such a harsh place to live in. It's a beautiful place, but it's such a hard place to really just dream. Like, it's just a really hard place to really want things that seem untangible, especially if you are a dreamer, especially if you have such a creative, imaginative mind. Sometimes capturing those things again seems very unattainable and can be harder to find or look at. That's all I wanted to talk about this week. Thank you for watching.